Hello, it's Anne, and welcome back to my channel, Postcards from My Golden Years. Today, I'd like to share with you my tips for the woman over 65, and I guess they could apply to men as well in some way. I guess you could just reverse the sex and sort of make it apply for men as well. So I hope you won't mind, but I made myself a list, some notes, so that I could keep track of those 10 points that I wanted to share and remember what they are. At my age, I'm lucky I can remember where my shoes are for the day. Okay, so tip number 1. Get rid of husbands, friends, and others who don't bring joy to your life. Stop being friends or even bothering to show up for people who have no interest or no apparent interest in your presence. Decide that you only deserve true friendship, a commitment to the friendship, and the love of healthy people. If you've got some crazy friends and they're not bringing joy to your life, time to say ta-ta. In the last few years, I have tried to rid myself of all the friends that I had who were not bringing joy to my life. Some of them were friends for years, but they really weren't making any of the effort. I was the one who was constantly contacting them, asking them when they wanted to get together, trying to arrange social occasions. If I stopped doing that, I wouldn't hear from them for months. They never went out of their way to set anything up with me. So in the last year or so, to be honest, I had plenty of time to just sit and evaluate those friendships. I let one friendship go. It was somebody who had been my friend since we were 8 years old. We were in 2nd grade together. She was my best friend for many of the years that I was going to school. And we reconnected on Facebook and all seemed well. And then, unfortunately, in the last presidency, when things sort of became political all over the country and there was such division, she and I didn't agree politically, and she would get very snotty about it on my Facebook page. And some days I'd give it back to her, and there were other days that I just decided there was no reason to continue to be friends with her. I hadn't seen her really since we graduated from high school 50 years ago. And so I wasn't really sure what I was losing in ending that friendship. Clearly nothing. I had another friend that I was also very good friends with for years, who, again, in a political situation, we were on different sides, and she became insulted when I asked her to just talk to me as a friend and explain to me why she had the views she had. She became very insulted and decided she didn't want to be my friend anymore. As far as I was concerned, friends should be able to talk about anything without hurt or upset or becoming insulting. She and I had gone through so much together prior to politics, husbands, boyfriends, fiancés. Unfortunately, I guess it just wasn't meant to be. And I literally went through my Facebook friends, and for the most part, I just unfriended anybody who was bringing nothing to my life. My feeling was, I don't see the people, they bring nothing to my life, there's no point in staying in touch with them. I'm not sure I'm ever going to go to another high school reunion again, so I just basically clicked unfriend. and I have no regrets about it. I don't miss whatever interaction there was with them prior to my doing that. Tip number 2, avoid drama. Years ago, I would get right into the drama and I would try to save relationships and friendships and be the go-between in family issues. The older I get, the less I want to be involved in drama. I don't need to save anybody. Nobody needs me to save them. They need to save themselves if they're in that kind of a situation. I'm not going to waste time with people who aren't worth it. It sort of goes back to the first tip on getting rid of people who don't bring joy to your life. So I choose to stay away from drama, and if a situation seems to be heading towards drama, I basically subtract myself out of that situation and I lead a happier life, a drama-free life for the most part. Live your life like there will not be a tomorrow. Who knows what tomorrow is going to bring? We could have a heart attack, a stroke, get hit by a truck in the street. Who knows? The most valuable thing all of us have is time and energy. And at this point in our life, both are very limited. We really have no way of knowing how many more years we will be on this side of the ground. Take care of your health. When I was younger, and even often now in my 60s, if something was bothering me, I had a little ache or pain or a cold or sore throat, I very rarely would call the doctor about anything. I would just keep on going, keep pushing myself, and eventually it would go away. But when you're in your 60s, as I'm finding out, you really shouldn't do that all the time. If it is a sore throat or a cold, sure. But for example, in my case, I was walking around for probably close to a year with a pain in my side. It turns out it's in my hip, but it was sort of like below my waist in the back. And I didn't want to deal with going to the doctor. And so I thought, well, maybe I have a urinary tract infection or a bladder infection or something like that. And I just thought, well, that's probably why I have that pain. And when the infection goes away, the pain will go away. And so sometimes it did. And then I got to the point where I was waking up pretty much every morning with that pain. And I thought, well, maybe I'm sleeping funny on it. And because once I got up and around, started moving around, the pain would go away. Finally, a year later, I mentioned it the last time I was in my doctor's office, and he had me get an x-ray, and it turned out that I have osteoarthritis in that hip. Who knew? Sounds like something old people get. I guess I'm there. So anyway, here I am. I don't know if I could have kept that from becoming that had I gone to the doctor a long time ago when I first started having that pain. I'm never going to know. But this is what I have now. And so who knows? But if you've got tests that you should be doing as a woman, mammograms, if it's time for your colonoscopy, go get it. Get everything done. Don't take any chances. Don't let something happen that you have no control over because you're really, frankly, irresponsible and you just don't get the normal diagnostic tests or checkups that you should be getting. Next, buy the shoes. Use that fancy crystal and the beautiful china. Use everything wonderful that you have, that you're saving for a special occasion. Wear those fancy shoes just to go to the grocery store sometimes. What are you saving things for? If you're in your 60s, heading towards 70 like me, or maybe you're in your 70s or your 80s, and you still have things that you don't use, they're for company or they're for special occasions, why? When do you get to a point in life where you should just use them, enjoy them? In my own case, my husband and I are moving to France in 3 years. So the majority of the things that I have in our home, I'm going to have to sell. So I have the next 3 years to enjoy everything here. Oh, I may take some of the more precious crystal glasses. I may take a few of them, but I certainly don't need 12 of them. I may take this set of French china that my husband bought me as a present a few years ago. But then again, I may end up selling that too, because a lot of these things I can replace when I get to France, and it will cost me more to ship them than it will to just replace them when I get there. But what if I never get there? What if something happens to me? You know, I sometimes think about getting hit by a truck, heart attack, stroke, cancer, who knows? Use those things today. Enjoy them today. Wake up in the morning and decide, damn, I am going to wear those shoes today, and I'm going to wear that dress that I save for special occasions. Why not? I'm going to take myself out to lunch in that pretty dress with the fancy 4 or 5 inch heels. Speaking of shoes and wearing the shoes, I used to wear those 3 or 4 inch spiked heels when I worked in Philadelphia for many, many years. And I was the woman who refused to carry a pair of sneakers. I didn't want one extra thing to carry from the parking lot. So I would drive into the city or take the train, and I would be walking from the train station in those high heels. And I never had a problem. I was quite comfortable, great balance. It was just part of my attire. And considering that I'm short, I think it was very rare that anybody ever saw me without some kind of a decent height heel on. So I'm kind of disappointed now that I can't wear those shoes much anymore. I mean, I have a pair of sparkly ones that have really nice heels, and they also have a little bit of a platform, and they're probably one of my more comfortable pairs of high heels. But even those I can't wear for long. Nowadays, I'm so used to wearing flip-flops that when I put on a pair of dressy heels, I can wear them for a very short period of time. I call them more sitting shoes than walking shoes, because I'm great at sitting in them and crossing my legs, and they look sexy and pretty. But boy, if I have to walk for a few blocks in those shoes to get to and from a parking lot downtown, I'm in a little bit of pain. If I wear them to a wedding or an affair, I gotta tell you, by the end of the event, I just just want to kick off those shoes. So I'm a little depressed that I've reached that point in my life where I can't wear those shoes anymore. And I probably have, well, I know I have well over 100 pairs of shoes, and probably 50 to 60% of them are high shoes like that, very high shoes. Either if they're not spiked heels, they've got, a pretty steep heel. And I can't wear them very comfortably anymore. So, I've been lamenting the fact that before I move to France, I'm going to have to get rid of most of those shoes. The fact is, if I'm honest, I can't wear most of them anyway for more than, 15 or 20-minute walk. So I've got 3 years to get rid of them, and any that will actually feel comfortable on me, I'm probably going to make the best of wearing them now, because I know I'm not going to need them. If not, maybe one pair. I'm not going to need them in my new life in France. Next, don't follow the rules. Be a rule breaker when it comes to deciding what fashions to wear, how long to wear your hair, what jewelry to wear. Do whatever makes you feel good. When I was growing up, all the mothers, the women, when they hit a certain age, they all got their hair cut very short. It was like this middle-aged do. Well, I swore I was never going to get it, and I never have, and I never will. As far as clothes, okay, there are some things that I probably wouldn't wear, like I wouldn't wear a mini skirt that's so short when you bend over you can tell what color underwear I'm wearing, assuming I'm wearing some. I wouldn't wear that. But I don't shy away from particular colors unless they don't really look good on me. And I don't shy away from certain fashions just because younger women or girls are wearing them. If there's a size to fit me and it looks attractive on me, if I feel good wearing that out in public, then I'm going to wear it. And you shouldn't really have to answer to anybody. And I would never judge what anybody else is wearing, well, unless they're wearing one of those mini skirts where they're just too short. Looks more like they're wearing a shirt and they forgot the bottoms. I wouldn't judge anybody on most things. If you feel like wearing it, wear it. If you want to grow your hair down to the back of your knees, grow your hair that long. If you feel like wearing it, you rock it, girl. That's all you need. Make it your own and go out there and conquer the world. And now the fun stuff. Have the best sex ever. You're not dead yet. Really, do you want to spend the rest of your life never having great sex? I know I didn't. If you're not having great sex, why not? And especially if you are married or in a relationship with a partner and you're just not sharing intimacy anymore. Have you had a conversation with your spouse or partner about why? And if the answer is you're just not in the mood, you just don't have an interest, you just don't have libido, find a doctor that specializes in anti-aging and bioidentical hormones. Have some blood work done. Have your hormones checked. Years ago, about 14 years ago, after a hysterectomy, I went to a doctor. I had my blood work done. I found out my hormones were all screwed up. He gave me prescriptions for Biest cream and it was a type of estrogen and testosterone. Oh my God, what a difference that testosterone made. And it could make a difference for you too if your body is lacking it. It's one of the unusual things. For women, it increases our libido, and it's not a whole lot. Just a little bit is all you really need, and it has other benefits. Besides increasing our libido, some people think it's a sex hormone, but it's not really. So you may want to look into that. But life is too short to just say, I don't feel like having sex. I'm never going to have sex again. Honey, you deserve better than that. Even if you have to go through a few partners to find the right one. I'm fortunate. Took me 3 husbands. The third one was the charm, for sure. So between him and the testosterone, life is good. Next, simplify your life. If not for you, for your children. Most of us have a house or apartment full of treasures and mementos and things that remind us of happy times and vacations and special events. And then there are some that are just treasures that we've purchased over the years. Well, my suggestion is, before you get too old to be able to actually think about what you'd like to do with them, start thinking about how you'd like them to be shared or disposed of when your days on this earth are over. If there are some things that you want to live on, some family heirlooms, give them to your children, give them to your family soon. Or make a list of who should get what when the end comes. I know it's sort of a depressing thought. Nobody wants to think about their end, especially when you're in your 60s. I mean, hopefully we've all got, 20, 30 years at least to go. But I think back to when my mother first moved into assisted living, and I was left with the task of helping her move. And she was moving from 1,600 square foot condo to a room in an assisted living facility that was probably between 400 and 600 square feet. So she couldn't take all of her furniture and she couldn't take all of her possessions. And I ended up having to get a storage unit for everything that wouldn't fit because she insisted that she didn't want me to get rid of anything. And so I got a storage unit and moved her to assisted living and put everything else in the storage unit. And years later, as she advanced and her Alzheimer's advanced, she eventually ended up in a nursing home, in skilled nursing. I had to reduce all that was left of her possessions down to what would fit in about 3 feet of closet space and a couple of drawers, not even the size of a full dresser, and a little nightstand table drawer. It was pretty depressing, and she was still somewhat aware of her possessions because I remember her asking me what I was going to do with this or that or whatever. Unfortunately, because she would go in and out of I guess being with it, I sort of had to make some decisions on my own. And I knew that she was in skilled nursing and she was never going to get better. And I had to start getting rid of the things that were in the storage unit. And eventually her Alzheimer's was extremely advanced, to the point where I was only a little bit sure that she knew me when I came to visit her. She was beyond talking. When we would come and visit, sometimes she would smile and sometimes she would look right through me. And I needed to reduce expenses, so I sold everything that was in the storage unit. I had no room for it myself. And then we got to the point where there were over 100 photo albums. And I brought them all home with me from the storage unit. And I made a giant stack of them all over my dining room. And one by one, I opened the albums and I went through all of the pictures. And wherever there were photos of people that I knew, that I felt that my brothers or nieces or my son or I wanted the photos, rather than save the photos, I scanned the photos. And in some cases, I took the originals and put them in an envelope and mailed them to family members. And after I was done scanning everything that I felt was important and mailing out all of the originals that I felt we could do something with, I literally had to stand at a dumpster. I had a little wagon and I kept stacking the wagon with photo albums. And I stood at the dumpster and one by one I tossed well over 100 photo albums in the dumpster. It was heartbreaking. I had lots of tears. I felt so terrible doing this with everything that my mother had collected over her entire lifetime. But I had no place for them. And I felt that I had scanned the photos that were important to me, and the rest, I guess, had to go on. So I don't want somebody to have to do that for me. And so again, fortunately, I have scanned most of our photos. They're either online, transferred from phones or cameras, so that we have very few hard paper photo albums, which is a good thing. And nobody else is going to have to get rid of them for me. So that's why I'm saying, if you have treasures and things like that, think about your last days. Are you going to need all of them? I mean, at one point before my mom passed away, when I was going through all the photos, I bought one of those electric photo albums where you upload a bunch of photos and it just rotates photo to photo to photo to photo. And I probably put about 150 photos in there. And I put it on her nightstand in her nursing home, and we kept it plugged in. And so anytime she opened her eyes in that direction, I don't know how much of it she absorbed, but I put lots of memories all the way back to when she was in her early 20s dating my dad. There were photos of their dates and things like that that she had saved. So think about that. And last, make your life, your total life, about happiness and joy. Do only things that make you happy and joyous. Stay away from situations and people that bring tears. You don't need that. No, life is kind of short at this point. None of us know when the end is near. So make your life about happiness and joy. And don't sit on the couch when you retire. Do not sit on the couch like a couch potato and get lost in television. Don't sit at your laptop. And sometimes I admit I'm guilty of this. I sit on my laptop and I will read my emails and then read Facebook, and then just wander around on the internet, and I'm like lost in the internet. Don't do it. If you don't have a hobby, find a hobby. In my case, less than a year ago, I decided that I wanted to become a YouTube creator. I thought it would be fun to shoot videos and learn to edit. And so I've been teaching myself the nuances of shooting a good video and editing it. And sure, I make mistakes. I'm still learning. I'm giving myself the 3 years between now and when we move to France to have everything down pat and so perfect that when we move to France or we start the actual day-to-day preparation, I can chronologize that on YouTube day to day as we do new things to get ready for our trip, so that you'll want to come back and enjoy every single one of those videos. But it's going to take me a learning period. So maybe your thing is not doing videos and learning to edit them. Maybe it's learning to play pickleball, or riding a bicycle, or gardening. Who knows? Maybe it's playing mahjong. Just don't sit at home and veg. My mother, again, was great inspiration for me. My mother and her mother before her, they got to a certain age where they just plopped down and didn't get up when they were retired. And my mother spent the last years of her life in a wheelchair. She just stopped moving. And I would look at her and I would say, damn, that's the secret. I don't want my life to end like hers. Don't stop moving. Get up, keep moving, keep doing things. Don't become a vegetable. And I don't mean that literally. I mean, don't plant yourself and grow on the couch. Get out there and enjoy your life. Have the happiest, most joyous life. Thanks so much for watching. I hope I've given you a few tips or given you some things to think about. We truly never know how long we're going to be on this earth, unless you're psychic or you've got a good psychic and she's already given you the date. I doubt that. But I think, especially once you retire, the last thing in the world you should do is just sit back and say, okay, I'm done. I'm just going to sit here and let the days pass. No. Have a happy life. If I've given you some things to think about, feel free to comment below. I welcome comments. Let's start a little dialogue. And if you're not a subscriber, please do me a favor. You'll help me grow my channel. Just click below. It's just a little box. Click the little subscribe box. It'll take you a moment. It doesn't cost anything. If you enjoyed this video or it added something to your life, give me a thumbs up. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you again for watching. Bye for now.